Holly will be starting in a few minutes. If you'd like to, please sign in using the QR code. You can sign in using the QR code on the bottom left corner of the presentation. The top right corner is the informational packet that you have in your hand. So that's meant for more people that are watching the live stream. But it would be great if you could sign in with the sign-in form if you are physically here.
Well, good evening. This microphone isn't for you, it's for the folks at home. But welcome. I'm Dr. Julie Rossley. I'm Director of Humanities, and I'm here today with Mrs. Kimberly Vargas Curatola. And we're also joined by Ms. Harley Karsten, who's on the screen somewhere, but I don't see her just yet. We're really excited to offer you this trip to Quebec. It's a big deal. We haven't done this. I don't know if we've done it yet or ever. I'm saying no. But Ms. Vargas Curatola will walk us through the ins and outs. So at this time, I'd like to introduce her and hand the mic over.
Bonsoir, bienvenue. We're really excited about this trip. We're going to start with the educational goals. In our French classroom, our daily work, is based on the World Readiness Standards. Communication, our interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational skills that we work on a daily basis, and cultures, which actually allow the students to make connections and comparisons from their global communities and their own. These goals focus on literacy, real-world applications, and developing 21st century skills. What better way to achieve these goals and hone these skills than to venture outside the classroom and go abroad to an authentic, immersive experience? So we've carefully thought about planning a trip to Canada. Students will embark on a 4-day trip to Quebec City and Ile d'Orléans, which is the Isle of Orleans, immersing themselves in the language, the culture, and the lifestyles of the region. So in planning the journey, we took account the communication goal. Daily interactions in Quebec will provide real-world opportunities for students to use the French language. Students will negotiate meaning from their surroundings as they see signs, hear conversations, interact with native speakers, and share their reactions and their new experiences. Decision-making in this new environment will be based on a student's ability to interpret, understand, and analyze whether ordering a meal or deciding which exhibit to see or which souvenir to purchase. With cultures, students will interact within a francophone culture that they've studied, specifically Quebec City. The travel experience and planned activities will allow them to explore their curiosity, use the language to investigate, and reflect on the new culture and compare it to their own. Additionally, students will learn about the diverse cultures in modern-day Quebec and the importance of their contributions. Connections. Students will have opportunities to make connections across disciplines as they learn about the history and traditions of Quebec, as well as the sites that they will visit. They'll gain a different perspective as they are immersed in a French-speaking culture and navigate the environment. Comparisons. Students will use the French language through their daily interactions, and they will compare dialects and language between the Québécois French and the French spoken in other francophone cultures. Little nuances like le dîner or le souper. In Canada, they would say le souper, like a supper, as opposed to le dîner. Comparisons will occur organically as each new experience unfolds before them. Communities. Students will venture outside the classroom, academic environment, and take what they have learned as they explore and interact in a global community. Through their interactions, the students will gain cross-cultural understanding firsthand while communicating out of necessity and enjoyment. Many cultures within Canada, they will be exposed to wonderful examples. Our travel company is Guardian Travel. Our travel manager, which you will meet momentarily, is Holly Carson. Our chaperones will be determined based on the student number, confirmed student number, and our local tour guide will also be confirmed based on the confirmed student travelers. We've curated a 4-day travel itinerary starting on Thursday, March 26th. We will have bus transport from Wantagh High School to Newark Airport, and that is based on flight availability. A walking tour of Old Quebec upon arrival. Old Quebec is the oldest walled city in North America, north of Mexico. We have La Maison de Littérature, which is a public library housed in an 1848 Methodist church. La Citadelle, which is a still active military fortress. It is home of the General Governor and the Royal 22nd Regiment. We also have hotel check-in that evening. And hopefully the kids will be sleeping because they'll have had a very long day of travel and sightseeing. Friday, March 27th, breakfast at the hotel, lunch and tours on Ile d'Orléans. Ile d'Orléans is such a special place. We really wanted to make this a special environment. The island is in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. It is 3 miles from Quebec City. It is accessible through a suspension bridge, and it just captures life of the past in Quebec and currently what the agricultural community is doing in Ile-d'Orléans. It is fantastic. The touring of the Sugar Shack and Maple Farm, Les Fromages d'Ile-d'Orléans, to view the making and tasting of artisanal cheeses. France has over 300 to 400 cheeses. The Canadians, same. So that should be interesting to see and compare. Observation tower. The students will go up to an observation tower and enjoy the amazing views of from l'Île d'Orléans, which they will see the St. Lawrence River on both sides, and Quebec City. Chocolate factory on chocolaterie, which will be my favorite because I'm a chocoholic. The 18th century surgeon's manor. This will be a manor that they kept authentic, unique. It was the king's surgeon at the time, and it has been kept, and it will be a look in the life of the 18th century surgeon. And then for the kids to sort of let off some steam, they'll be going to a mega park indoor amusement park. Saturday the 28th, breakfast at the hotel, tours of Montmorency Falls, and a cable car ride. Montmorency Falls is higher than the Niagara Falls. It is not as wide, and it is very, very beautiful historic park, hiking, and it has a suspension bridge that goes over it that we'll be walking across. The Plains of Abraham, students will tour the Plains of Abraham, which was a very historic site of the Quebec Battle of 1759 between the French and the British. The French Montcalm and the British leader Wolfe. Then they will end the night with a cooking and dining experience. So they will have a cooking lesson and a dinner together. Free time in Quebec City for their last night. And then on the last morning, breakfast at the hotel, check out of the hotel, a guided tour of Chateau Frontenac, which you will see in a moment. Chateau Frontenac is in the old city, and it is part of the UNESCO site. Then they will transfer to the airport for return flight to Newark Airport, and the private motor coach transfer to Wantagh High School. These are just a little peek into the sites. Oh, let me just go back. Chateau Frontenac was one of the last sites that we'll be touring. La Citadelle, the military fortress. Les Chutes de Montmorency, the waterfalls of Montmorency and the Montmorency River. And l'Île d'Orléans, which really is a spectacular natural site. Meals, very important. Very, very important for these kids. So breakfast will be provided daily at the hotel. Lunch, they will have five lunches, $60 on what they're calling a Jaspy cashback for 3 days of lunches at $20 each. So it'll be a card. They'll have $20 on it for each lunch that they're going to go to. One group lunch at Bistrot du Hangar on Île d'Orléans, which will be that island that I mentioned. Dinner, 3 group dinners, La Petite Place Royale and Le Chic Shack, and then 1 dinner and cooking class at Atelier and Saveur, which I think will be fun. I'm sorry, I'm in your way. Can you see? Fundraising. Briefly, we're going to touch upon the fact that the Wantagh High School students can be doing fundraisers across the grades, amongst the grades. They will do in-school fundraisers. Collaborative fundraising opportunities with our travel company, Guardian Travel. They have 10 existing fundraisers. We can decide on, once we have the confirmed student travelers, how we can go about doing that. And we will have a liaison from Guardian Travel that will be helping us with providing the actual products and helping us go forward with that. In summary, this trip will be an immersive experience that allows for real-world opportunities. And students will be able to practice, experience, and hone the skills that they learn beyond the classroom. Merci. I'm going to now introduce you to the Guardian Travel Manager, Holly Carson. And she will come up on the screen. She will discuss the trip inclusions, the trip costs, payment schedule, insurances, student health, additional features like the We Travel page, group travel video app, mosaics, and then any questions, and Dr. Julie Rossley will handle our closing comments. So thank you for coming this evening.
Hi.
Hi, Holly. This is Holly Carson from Guardian Travel. She's been our travel manager and been instrumental in helping us curate our actual itinerary. And she is our go-to person at Guardian Travel. Welcome.
Thank you. I I apologize in advance if sorry, this is something that didn't happen earlier. I'm getting an echo back into my own headphones that's thrown me off a little bit, but it might be gone now. Okay. Um, sorry about that. If I end up coughing, I also am sorry about that. I'm getting over being sick. And yes, my name is Holly. I've been working closely here on multiple Wantagh High School trips, and this seems like a great I'm amazed at how much we're going to fit in 4 days here. So very excited to work with you all. And I'm going to go over a little more on what all is included in the trip, how to register, and aspects of our trip protection plan and our post-departure insurance. So what is included? I'm not going to make you sit here and listen to me read all of these, but basically it's everything that we have in the itinerary is included. Any tips that might need to be paid to bus drivers or at restaurants, those are all included. Basically, the only thing that is not included is going to be your student souvenirs. So, excuse me. We have all aspects of your hotel stay. All of our motor coach transfers are in the NYC and New York State safety program. Everything involved in your airfare, etc. If you have any questions about whether or not something is included, I'm happy to answer that in the end. But again, anything that is on the itinerary is going to be part of our trip. For the cost breakdown, a student quad occupancy, so this is if you have 4 students in a room, right now is $3,194. But this is for if we have our minimum enrollment, which is 15 to 19 students. As soon as we hit a 20 student threshold, that price begins to go down. Our deposit is due November 1st of $639. And then we have 2 payments, both also on the first payment 2 and payment 3 of $851 on December 1st and January 1st. The final payment of approximately $851 will be on January 25th of 2026. And I mention especially the approximately here because if we do pass 20 participants or more and that price goes down, before that final payment happens, we will recalculate and your final payment is would be less according to how many people we have enrolled. The when you sign up on WeTravel, it will automatically sign you up for automatic payments, but you can log into your WeTravel payment, log into your WeTravel account and make payments early or adjust where that's coming from, things like that. I just like to mention it. It does say it when you sign up, but oftentimes it gets missed in those sign up moments. Someone won't read it, and I've had that happen where an auto draw happens and I wasn't ready for it. So just be aware that that is something you will be automatically enrolled in and you can change after the fact. You will get reminder emails from WeTravel before those happen. They'll come through and be like, hey, just so you know, this payment's about to happen. And again, the final cost could change due to trip enrollment. And there is a service fee if you pay by credit card, but if you sign up using your bank information or pay through another method that is not credit card, you will not be charged that service charge. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share our customer service email. They're always happy to answer any questions related to that. Our trip protection plan. This one tends to have quite a few questions, so I'm happy to talk more about it as we go along. This is similar to a CFAR plan, cancel for any reason. If the entire trip gets canceled, and that's referring to like down the line, heaven forbid, Wanta has to cancel the whole trip. People who have paid into the trip protection plan will receive 100% of their money paid back, minus the cost of the plan. If you have to cancel on your own, so the trip is still happening, but you just, something comes up a couple of weeks out, you can't go anymore, then you will receive 80% of the money paid back outside of the cost of the plan and the deposit, which is non-refundable. It is not a third-party insurance plan, so there is no claim or file that you need to provide, but you do have to cancel no less than 72 hours prior to departure so that we have time to cancel things out on our end. And this is just a moment where we like to say, before you register, please check your calendars, make sure that there's not big traveling sports event that's happening at the same time, because you're going to want to make sure before you sign up that as of right now, yes, definitely I can go. We always recommend that you use TPP, but it is not at all required. It is an optional addition. I am just checking my side notes and making sure I didn't forget anything right there. Oh, yes. So another question we get is, what happens if we don't reach our contract minimum? So if we don't reach the minimum of 15 participants, we could always go back and reprice it if that group wanted to see what it would be like with a lower amount. But if we don't meet that minimum of 15, we can and will refund you everything that you have paid, including the TPP costs, et cetera, because the trip is just not happening. It just takes us a little bit of time to cancel it out on our side to get those funds back to you. So if, say, we have 14 instead of 15, you are covered. Don't worry about that. And again, customer service or I am happy to talk more in depth about that should we have any questions. This is the slide where I would normally have a QR code directly to our WeTravel page. That isn't quite live for this trip yet, but I'm going to show you what the Wanta High School trip to Orlando looks like, so that I can show you essentially what it would look like to register. And we will be emailing you this link once it is live for signups to begin. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing so that I can start sharing the other trip page. So when I've said WeTravel, excuse me, on any parts of this so far, that is referring to our online payment portal. So this is the Wanta Orlando trip, that it would look essentially like this, except it's going to say to Quebec, and the dates will be different. Obviously, it'll show you the various different package types. And then to the right, I guess you can't see my cursor, I'm trying to circle it, but to the right where you see student quad occupancy, there's a drop down. Now in this situation, there was only listed student quad occupancy, but for your trip, you may see triple or double. This is where you can choose what your preferred room occupancy would be, and then hit the book now button to actually book your trip. This is also included in your packet that you received today. There's a WeTravel parent packet that details how to set up an account and register. Head back over to my other slide. Oh, also, WeTravel does include an online donation platform that was briefly mentioned before. Essentially, once you are booked for your trip, excuse me, there's a link associated with your registration that then you could share on Facebook or via email to other family members and say, hey, I'm going on this trip. If you would like to donate to me, please go here. And those funds would go directly into your balance. So if grandma in California wants to send $100, that $100 goes fully into that student's account. Just to touch on also our fundraisers, we know that we're on a little bit of a short timeline between now and the end of January for the payments. When doing a Guardians fundraiser, we are able to back issue fundraiser payments as a refund to you, where basically, say in April, you run another fundraiser. If it's one of ours, we can apply it directly. If it's something you do at the school, you can send the check to us. We can apply those to student accounts that have already paid for because the trip is already gone, but we can issue that credit as a refund back to your original payment method. So there is more time to do fundraising. I believe the number is 180 days after the date of travel is where we are still able to send refunds in that form through WeTravel. Past there, we don't have access to those payments. So I believe we have done it before. It just we need to kind of like reauthorize our ability to send money back to that card. So I keep clicking off onto my second screen and not being able to hit my next button. This is my email. If you have questions that I can help you answer, I will warn you I am off Thursday and Friday for a friend's wedding, but I am always monitoring my email probably more than I should be after hours, so I'm always happy to answer your emails. Or you can reach out to customer service at guardiantravelgroup.com. If you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I can certainly find it for you. And I did want to briefly talk about the group travel and the photos app. It's called Group Travel Videos. Pardon. It is an app that there are pages in your handout tonight that talk a little more about it, but basically it offers not only a space that all of the students can share their photos with you and with each other, there's also a service where the teacher can see a GPS location of the students who have the app associated on their phone, so that during the trip, heaven forbid, someone's turned the wrong way, they can look right there and know where they are. Granted, of course, everyone's going to be together the whole time, so heaven forbid. But it's an added layer of security and a nice way for you while your child's off in another country, being able to see kind of what they're up to throughout the day and maybe what their friends are. You know, maybe someone took a group photo that you didn't have access to, you can see it right there on the app. So we've really enjoyed our partnership with this app, and there's no signing up. We will send you a login. Other people can't suddenly join in. It's very secure. And again, I'm happy to answer more questions about that as well. And I'm going to preemptively answer one question that we had in the planning process, which is when you're sending your student to Canada, what is the best way to send finances with them for souvenirs or anything else they might need while they're gone? Some places may take the American dollar, but it's not guaranteed. And oftentimes, if you're in like a touristy gift shop and they do take American dollars, they aren't going to give you a good exchange rate. So if you're going to send cash, it will be your best bet to, if you're able to exchange that at your bank ahead of time, that will save time throughout the process. But there also is going to be time in the airport between flights, and this is a Wantagh specific question of how the time waiting at the airport will be spent, but that is a possibility to use the airport exchange system. There's also debit cards that you could get for your student, or Visa gift cards are all good options. And again, happy to answer any questions about that to the best of my ability. And if you don't mind, I think I touched on all of the questions preemptively until we open for any other questions. But that is what I have for you today, and we are so excited to be working on this trip with you all.
So that's our presentation. Please let us know if you have any questions. Right now, I'm good. That's our presentation. If we have any questions, we can gladly try to answer them for you this evening. Yes, Mrs. Myers. For Holly. Okay, I'll reiterate it just in case. Go ahead. Okay, so far your question is, you heard about the trip protection program. The question is, if they do not get the trip protection plan, do they still get fully reimbursed if Wantagh cancels the trip?
If Wantagh were to cancel the whole trip, like we are past our minimum registrations and the trip is a go, and then for some reason, say like in March, Wantagh is like, we can't do this trip, cancel. In that situation, the only way to be guaranteed all of your money back is with the trip protection plan. We'll say that is in, I don't think I've ever seen that happen in a trip. And for extenuating circumstances, Guardian is always, doing the best we can to help schools. But the trip protection plan is the only way to say 100% you definitely would get everything back.
Good question. Yes. Great question. She would like to know the cost of the trip protection plan.
I closed out all of my tabs a little bit ago before the meeting, so let me go reopen that real quick so I tell you the exact correct number.
No worries. Anyone think of any other question in the interim? Yes, Mr. Morris. $20. Good question. So as you're looking for that, Holly, the next question is, are there different tiers or quota numbers for which the price would go down?
Yes. So, firstly, the trip protection plan is $307. And so they're just, are we asking for what the different number tiers of number of participants we're looking at?
Yeah, the question is, are there other tiers for which, like the number, like where we meet quotas and the price would go down?
Yes, so it's essentially every five students. And the way that pricing changes is from, excuse me again, I'm so sorry. Like shared costs such as the bus transfers, that's a flat fee because it's, a full coach bus that is being split between, say, 15 people versus 30 people. That price will significantly go down when it's shared amongst more people. So I've got 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, etc.
Five students. The question is, do you know the average price decrease for every 5 students, for every tier that we go?
Let me do some math real quick. So the first tier is the most significant decrease. I will just give you that number. So once we cross to 20 participants, it goes down to 283. From there, I'd say it's between 100 to 150 per tier. It's not an even number just because of the way math works out for various items. But roughly roughly 100 to 150. And then by the time we get to 40 participants at a rate, it remains at a pretty close range within $100 between 40 to 50.
Yes, Mr. Moskowitz. Perfect. So the question is travel documents that are necessary and also health and safety.
Sorry again. My daughter brought home hand, foot, and mouth for all of you parents there. She's 3 years old, and so we've all been knocked out for the past week. um, so travel documents, because we are flying, even though there are ways to enter Canada with, like, say, a birth certificate, because we are flying, everyone will need a passport. That's the main thing, is your passport. And then for health and safety, can we narrow down that question a little more? Just it's a little easier to speak to a more specific question on that.
So the question is there a school nurse going? And if so, or if a student needs to bring medication, what's the procedure? So you can answer part and I'll answer part of that.
Excuse me. So Guardian does not have a specific protocol regarding student medication because that is typically something that varies greatly between every school district. So that's going to depend a bit on what WANTA's policies are and what type of medication it is. And similarly with the nurse situation, that's going to be a WANTA high school policy question.
So the existing WANTA policy in the handbook will apply to health and safety. With regard to safety, we will have overnight security in the actual hotel.
Oh, and post-departure insurance, sorry if I'm interrupting anyone, does cover, heaven forbid, medical evacuation as well as emergency evacuation. I believe you have the PDI document in your packets as well that start to break down some of those things. Every student, no matter what, will have post-departure insurance, and basically as soon as your plane takes off, that goes into effect. And again, heaven forbid, but there is coverage.
So PDI refers to the post-departure insurance, and that's in your packet. And Mrs. Khan was asking about the student to chaperone ratio.
We have that set up currently as roughly 1 for every 10 students.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
It was 1 for every 10 students, correct?
One for every 10.
Approximately. Yes.
And your question was, how will they manage? The question is, how will they manage their passports? I guess
That's another going to depend on how WANTA chooses to do that. And it's not something that Guardian has a specific policy for.
The fear is your child losing the passport, I'm sure, among other things.
I know when I have traveled with groups with passports in the past, my favorite thing has been that they make neck wallets, and they would make us keep those with us at all times under our jackets, where our passport and any documentation we would need was there with us at all times.
So,
but that's not something you have to do.
No. But I guess depending on the number of students that we have, we are going to set up those very specific policies that will then coincide with the WANTA policy and other trips that have been taken in the past abroad. So we will confer with all of those and find the best practice policy for that situation. And this meeting is just a preliminary one. For the actual confirmed students, we will then have everything set for you, and you will have a much better idea of how things are going to be run in that respect. It's also going to depend heavily on how many students end up coming. Are there any luggage restrictions is the question.
Only your standard, everyone gets one checked bag, so it's going to fall. We don't have the specific airline lockdown yet, as we can't purchase that group airfare until we know how many students will be participating. But, sorry, whatever their regulations are in terms of how heavy it can be and the size, but everyone has one checked bag and their normal carry-on and personal item included in the trip.
Because we don't have the flights pretty much set yet, we're going to wait until we have the confirmed travelers, and then we'll probably set those policies right after that, and you will know. I mean, we've had our own children travel, and it's been, they're set one luggage at very specific measurements, and then their actual carry-on. We would like to follow the same policy, but depending on what airline we're going to be using, and since we can't know that until we have confirmed students, we will absolutely pass that information on to you. Any other questions? And again, once we have student confirmed travelers, we will absolutely have another meeting or two, and you will be informed. If you have questions, you have the customer relations email. You also have Holly's email. You also have our emails, and we will do our best to answer every question that we possibly can. And if we don't have the answers, as Holly said, we'll find the answers and we'll get them to you. We're looking forward to this, and we would really love to get your students enthusiastic about it. But again, we're here to answer your questions as soon as you come up with them. Okay?
All right, so there are two final points I must share. Not to think negatively, but just so that everyone's aware before signing up for this amazing academic opportunity. So the first point is we recommend that students planning to attend this trip, that they purchase the trip protection plan. As you heard from what Holly said, if things go awry, so to speak, prior to departure, prior to 72 hours before that plane takes off, and for some reason your child needs to not attend, that's the way to ensure that you get the majority of your money back. You know, as Holly had said, what would be lost would be the deposit and the cost of the trip protection plan. But then the remainder of the fees paid at that point of cancellation would be refunded at 80% of what the student would have been paid, would have paid at that point in time. Holly, am I correct in saying that?
That was perfect.
Okay. So does anybody want me to repeat that? No? Okay. Additionally, as with all school-sanctioned activities, students are expected to adhere to the district's and high school's codes of conduct. If a student violates these codes of conduct, penalties could result in that student would be required to fly back home early, depending on the nature of the infraction. All right, so with all of this said, you know, this is going to be an amazing learning experience. You know, we thank you for your time and your attention tonight. And we look forward to a wonderful, immersive learning experience for your children. Thank you very much.